Hi everyone, welcome back to Understanding Mathematics. In today's video, I will be going over questions 7 to 9 of the 2026 AMC 8. So let's get started. For the first problem, Mika would like to estimate how far she can ride a new model of electric bike on a fully charged battery. She completed 2 trips totaling 40 miles. The first trip used 1/2 of the total battery power, while the second trip used 3/10 of the total battery power. How many miles can this electric bike go on a fully charged battery? Now let's solve it together. We know that she completed 2 trips, 40 miles, and we know that the first time she used 1/2, the second time she used 3/10. We add them up, we get 8/10 because we know that 1/2 is 5/10 and 3/10 is 3/10, and we add them up is 8/10. So apparently we know that 8/10, 8/10 of the total battery power, she can drive 40 miles. So now we just need to find out how many miles can she drive with 2/10 of the battery power, and then we can get the answer. So let's just simplify. It's not called simplify, let's just divide. So if we divide 40 by 4, we get 10 miles. If we divide 8 by 4, we would get 2/10. So apparently we can drive 10 miles with 2/10 of the total battery power. And we know that 8/10 plus 2/10 is equal to the full charged battery, which is 1. So 40 plus 10 is equal to 50 miles. So the answer for this problem would be C, 50. So now let's go to the next problem. A poll asked a number of people if they like solving mathematics problems. Exactly 74% answered yes. What is the fewest possible number of people who could have been asked the question? So for this problem, we would deal with it differently than the previous questions and the previous videos I had. We would be trying out the answer choices. So let's go with 10 first. So 74% is also 0.74 times 10 is 7.4. So apparently, we have another question here. Can 7.4 be the fewest possible number of people? It does seem right that we didn't do the calculation wrong. So 7.4 would be how many people who said yes and all the people he asked. Well, the problem is, can you split people? Okay, this is funny. Can you split people? The answer is no. Are you supposed to go up to a person and then ask this person a question and then split this person? No. Or like 7.4. So for example, like you went up to a person, you asked this person, and then exactly 0.4 of this person said yes, and then all of the other said no. That would be wrong. You can't do that. So apparently 7.4 wouldn't be right. So 10 people couldn't have been the fewest possible choices. So fewest possible number of people. So A would be wrong. For 20, we double it, 14.8. That is still a decimal, still wrong. Keep going. So 25 times 0.7, that would be equal to let's do the calculation. Okay. Wait. Okay. We get 1850. And then I'm not gonna keep the calculation. Well, we forgot to cheat the decimal, so we cheat back 2 digits. That would give us 18.5. Same thing. No. Still a decimal, still a decimal. Okay, let's go to the next one. 50%. 74% of 50, that would give us 37. And we get 37. That would be a correct answer because it's not a decimal. So maybe 50 would be the correct answer. So this is good. Now let's check 100. So 0.74 times 100, we get 74. That would be correct, not a decimal. But we know that 100 would be bigger than 50. And we're asking for the fewest possible number. So 50 would be correct. So the answer for this problem would be D, 50. So let's move on. What is the value of this expression here? This is not a hard problem, but you just have to understand what is square root. So you guys might all learn it at school. The square root of 9 is 3. Let's just take that as example, but why? Because 9 is equal to 3 times 3. So apparently, for example, there's a number in the x, for example, that's a square root. We have to find two numbers, for example, y times y. Those two numbers, those variable, they're not equal. Okay, I kept writing the equal sign, so we have to find two numbers. They're the same, y times y. They're equal to x, and then we take the y, and that would be the answer for the square root of x. So since we get how this works, we can start solving this problem. And I'm just gonna write this right here. So the square root of x is, we find two numbers, y times y, and then we get x, and then we take the y, and the y would be the answer. So let's start solving this problem. What is the square root of 81? So same thing, find two numbers, they multiply together, they get 81, and then we take one of them, and that's the answer, but they have to be the same. So, 1 times 1, no. 5 times 5, no. 6 times 6, no. We get 9 times 9 is equal to 81. So the square root of 81 would be 9. And then 16 times 9 would be this part, 16 times 9. Let me write it here, 16 times 9. That would be equal to, since we know that 6 times 9 is 54, and then for 144. So we have to find the square root of 140, the square root of 144. Okay, so what is the square root of 144? That would be 12 because 10 times 10 is 100. So that apparently doesn't work. 11 times 11 is 121. So apparently that doesn't work too. And then the next one would be 12 times 12, and that is 144. So great, we already know the top. So now we have to find the bottom. What is 81 and 16 right here? So since we know that the square root of 16, find two numbers, they multiply together, they get 16, and then take 1, that would be 4. So apparently for this would be 81 times 4. Should I use another color just for clarity? So for 81 times 4 right here, the square root of that, so we get 324. The square root of 324 is 18. So apparently the bottom would be 18. Okay. So the answer for this problem would be 12 over 8. Oops, that's not correct because we still have to simplify it. If you watched my previous video, you would know what's simplifying, dividing the top and the bottom by the same number. So if we divide the top and the bottom both by 6, we get 2 over 3. So the answer for this problem will be B, 2 over 3. Let me just write the divide by 6. Okay, thank you very much for watching the video today. I hope you understand the explanations and understand square roots and how does all of the solutions work. And If you're interested in more of those problems, you can watch my previous videos, and I actually recommend you to do so and like or subscribe. This is Understanding Mathematics. Thank you.